All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating scenario, the anatomy of an epic threat, specifically through the lens of King Yudhishthira's strategic analysis.
Think about this for a second. How do you win a war when your enemies are, well, essentially gods, or at the very least, operating with godlike power? That's the exact agonizing question keeping King Yudhishthira awake at night. Remember, he's been stripped of his kingdom, he's exiled in the forest, and now he's staring down the barrel of a mythological arms race. The stakes absolutely could not be higher. He isn't just facing a regular army, he's up against legendary, invincible warriors. So to understand how he plans to survive, we have to look closely at his opening countermove.
Which brings us to part 1, the secret weapon mission. Let's set the stage here. Yudhishthira is in the Kamyaka woods confiding in his wise ascetic advisor, Dhaumya. He is acutely aware of the practically impossible odds his family is facing. So what does he do? He outlines a 3-step survival plan. Step 1, he sends his brother Arjuna, sometimes called Vishnu or Dhananjaya in the text, on a highly dangerous solo mission. Why Arjuna? Because of his immeasurable intelligence, his long arms, and his unbaffled prowess. Step 2, Arjuna has to go meet Indra, the literal lord of the celestials. And step 3, he needs to acquire celestial weapons directly from Indra, in their complete fullness and life. It's a massive ask, but Yudhishthira is confident, essentially viewing Arjuna as the son of a god.
And the mythological lore backing up this absolute trust? It's incredible. Yudhishthira doesn't just look at his brother Arjuna and their ally Krishna as top-tier fighters. He explicitly tells Dhaumya that he knows them to be Nara and Narayana, ancient divine rishis. He actually goes a step further, stating he knows Krishna and Arjuna are none other than Vishnu himself, possessing all 6 divine attributes. And, he's not alone in thinking this. He points out that the intelligent Narada and the puissant Vyasa know this ultimate truth too. So this deep divine identification is exactly why Yudhishthira believes Arjuna is literally the only one capable of pulling off this mission.
Moving on to part 2, the invincible Kaurava commanders. Now, to really get why this crazy divine mission is so necessary, we have to look at the horrifying threat that forced Yudhishthira's hand in the first place. In his mind, he's running through this terrifying roster of enemy commanders installed by Dhritarashtra's son. These guys aren't your standard foot soldiers. They are deeply versed in the Vedas, they're heroic, and they possess the knowledge of literally every weapon. We're talking about warriors like Kripa and the son of Drona, who are described point-blank in the text as invincible. And worse, they are actively eager to fight Arjuna. It's just this massive, intimidating wall of martial prowess.
And then there are the commanders, who are in a complete class of their own. The text uses a very specific, legendary term here, Adaratha. This denotes an exceptionally mighty warrior, a leader capable of fighting thousands of ordinary archers all at once. Thousands! Yudhishthira explicitly categorizes the venerable Bhishma and the great teacher Drona as Adarathas. When you think about the sheer scale of military expertise these exiled heroes are up against, it is just staggering.
Part 3, Karna, the all-consuming fire. This brings us to the one warrior who occupies Yudhishthira's deepest, most visceral nightmares. He says, and I quote, "Karna, like unto the all-consuming fire at the end of the Yuga that is sent by death himself, will without doubt consume my troops like unto a heap of straw." Just listen to that imagery. He describes this warrior of the Sutta caste as having the actual impetus of the wind god. Karna is the flame of fire. His arrows, those are the fiery tongues. The slaps of his left hand on his leathern fence are the crackling of that flame, and the dust of the battlefield is its smoke. Urged on by the sons of Dhritarashtra, Karna is framed as an unstoppable force of nature, just ready to burn the whole thing to the ground.
Which sets up part 4 perfectly. Arjuna, the extinguishing storm.
Because think about it, if your enemy is literally an all-consuming fire, how on earth do you survive? Well, you need a torrential downpour. The text masterfully juxtaposes these two warriors using these incredibly vivid elemental metaphors. On one side, we have Karna's raging fire. On the exact opposite side, Arjuna's storm. Yudhishthira describes Arjuna as a mighty mass of clouds. His celestial weapons represent fierce lightning. You've got his white steeds and rows of white cranes coursing underneath, and his unbearable bow, the Gandiva, acting as the rainbow ahead of the storm. Oh, and importantly, Arjuna is aided by Krishna, who acts as this powerful wind. Together they form an unstoppable thunderstorm capable of extinguishing Karna's blazing flame through unflagging arrowy showers.
So, Yudhishthira's conclusion here? It's absolute. He notes that having once undertaken a task, Arjuna never droops under its weight. The text sums up this conviction perfectly, saying, "Alone, he is equal unto them all." That's it. Without a fully equipped Arjuna returning with those celestial weapons, Yudhishthira openly admits it is utterly impossible to vanquish foes of this magnitude who've achieved such eminent success. The outcome of the entire war rests entirely on one man's shoulders.
Finally, Part 5, Leaving the Kamyaka Woods.
This brings the whole grand cosmic arms race crashing back down to the very intimate human reality of simply waiting. With Arjuna gone, the psychological toll on the king is incredibly heavy. He confesses to his advisor, "Without that hero, ourselves cannot be at rest." Even with Krishna right there beside him, Yudhishthira tells Dhaumya that he just doesn't want to stay in the Kamyaka woods anymore. He's deprived of his brother, and the anxiety is just way too much to bear in the exact place where they last saw him.
So what's the plan? Yudhishthira asks Dhaumya to find them a new asylum, and he lays out a really specific set of requirements for this grueling waiting game. He needs a sacred and delightful wood, inhabited by men of pious practices. Obviously, it needs to abound in food and fruits to sustain them during their exile. And he wants beautiful lakes, streams, and mountains, open to the regenerate ones. Essentially, he's seeking a peaceful sanctuary where they can just survive and pass the time. The text has this beautiful comparison, likening them to the Chataka bird, desperately waiting in expectation of gathering clouds for the return of the warlike Arjuna.
King Yudhishthira closes this entire strategic assessment with a simple yet totally desperate wish. We wish to go somewhere else. And honestly, that perfectly captures this agonizing calm before the ultimate storm. The arms race is underway, the invincible commanders wait. Karna's fire is burning, and Arjuna, the thunderstorm, is off to meet the Lord of the Celestials. So, where will the Pandavas hide next as this massive mythological storm gathers? We'll have to find out next time. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this breakdown really highlighted the incredible strategic depth of this epic text for you.